Alrighty. Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. For some of you, you're already starting the adult beverages, which is really cool. I mean, it's Friday night now. Geez, is it Saturday morning? No, it's midnight, I guess. That's what it is. It's like, it could be midnight in some places. And not bad, eh? Not bad at all. So, what do we see here this morning? I was looking at the contango real quick with the gold. Let me just double check it now. It was at 11. Let's just drift over to... There it is right there. And so it's trading at 72.40s bid for. And so it's about $10 now. So that's not too bad. Let's head back over to... There it is. And that's the euro. Is that the euro? Yeah, that's the euro. Let's double check what's going on there. Trading at 112.26. Let's take a look at it on the old J4X and see what's going on there. Oh, interesting on the gold. We'll come back to that, but you can see the J4X is heading down on that right now. And there we go. As you can see there, 112, 126. Same situation there. Rate of change, which is a lagger when it comes to our mathematics, is heading up. And you can trust the stochastics. These two stochastics are a leading indicator when put it together the way we put it together. And so a slow and a fast combined together has a flavor of our mathematics. As you can see right there. Same situation. It's rolling over too. Just we have a zero defined line. That always helps out right there. And you can see, we went into a. Let's go to the dun 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 dun. The fact check sheet right there. Let's take a look at that. And where are we on there? Okay, line 14. You can see we are 5 weeks in a weekly buy. Obviously, that's going way back to here where that little green line is right there. And so it gave us a signal that the trend on a weekly basis is now up. And I would say that this looks lower than all this up here, so it's obviously accurate. And then you can see, let me go back to that. And then you can see here on the Chicago Quant, it's heading down just like you see on the J4X right there with our little tool of trying to emulate my formula. And this has, like I said, it has a flavor of it, which is really nice. I mean, nothing better than having a little flavor. It may not be lobster, but it is monkfish. Let's put it that way. All right, and I still do love monkfish, which has a lot of characteristics like lobster. So when cooked right, it's enjoyable, enormously enjoyable. And so you can see here. The J4X is showing the weakness it's developing. Dashed line starts to turn over, and then we know this thing is starting to roll over. But we're not really going after the weekly. As you can see here, the weekly is nice and high up in here, and we even put the number in there where we, have the weekly sell, and it's not challenging it. So it's only the daily, and you can see it's not even making new lows. So just as you can see on J4X here, it's not making any new lows. So it's just sideways there, sideways action. Let's see now. Let's go to where's wait, I don't have the chat line up. Oh, there we go. Hey, 54 euro dollar. Very weird today. Well, good morning to you. Yeah, I hear you. I don't think there's any real conviction there. Yesterday, what did I try to blame the story of? I think I was blaming the story of moving troops to Poland from NATO, from Germany. And Germany having the 4th largest economy in the world. I think I was basically saying something like, I thought the weakness was because of all that. Looks like it wants to visit 1265 before dropping to 1165. Yeah, that's not too hard to believe, but in many ways, look at the tightness of this range here. I mean, you're looking at the 114, low 114s, right? And you're looking at the high 111s, mid 111s at 111.58. So it's really trapped inside this whole area there. I would think that it would try to. If we were in a daily buy, I would think it would try to get to the 113. That's what I would think. I think it would at least challenge this opening area and this closing area right here, right around the 112.75. And what's today's high? Today's high is 112.39. So, and we're at 23, as you can see on the J4X there. I don't know. It's Friday. Is there really any any real exciting news that can give a juice? We saw yesterday the Federal Reserve came out with their what do they call it? The stress test, and I guess that was kind of like a non-event. That kind of ended it, and so the markets don't really have any real push going on right now. And then we saw buying towards the end of the day. Will we see buying towards the end of today? Maybe a pop in the morning. Then the buyers will buy off the opening area, the first 15 minutes, and then they may buy at the end of the day. And it could be a snoozer. This is the last week of June, going into the quarter ending. It could be a Monday, Tuesday firm market, and then I don't know, maybe a new quarterly buying. I doubt they're going to be doing selling, but for every buyer there is a seller. I would think that the buyers will be a little bit more predominant, maybe going into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and by Thursday they will, it'll be pretty much over with. Friday is a U.S. holiday. We're going to join in with Latvia on Friday and be closed for a 3-day weekend, and then from there, it's the celebration of the Declaration of Independence and the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and lots of barbecues and lots of beer, and I don't know. It's the summertime. It's going to get sloppy and slow for the next 5, 6, 7 weeks, like 7 weeks between the first week of July going into especially the second week of July, and then from there to the second or third week of August. So pretty much vacation time. And that's where we are at the moment. I think that's the best way to describe it at this point. So I hope that that's, pound going clearly down in contrast. Let's take a look at that. That's going to the fact check spreadsheet. Dun, 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 dun. Line 13. It also went into a daily sell. Let's see what they're doing with that little pal of ours. Yep, still pushing hard on your downside there. I can see that. Let's see. And but it's just a little bit lower than yesterday. And the weekly sell of like 122.81 doesn't look like it's really going to come by, and we'll see that. Let's put that on there too at the same time. 112.81, 122.81 right there. So I don't know if we're going to see that. Maybe who knows? If some frustrating thing comes out. Is there any real noise coming out today? I mean, most of the news has happened, right? So, it's the end of the month, so there's not a lot of conviction in anything going on in this direction. These headlines make no sense. U.S. sees record jump in COVID-19 infections. What's missing there is record testing going on. So in other words, it doesn't mean much. And death rate keeps on dropping. There's less people dying because we're being more healthier. So in other words, the death rate this year is actually lower than normal because people are not out doing more stupid things. Death rate is all what really counts when it comes to, record whatever. Who cares? It's irrelevant. I'm not hearing any dying. I don't understand it. Why the media keeps on reporting the amount of infections identified, but like I think during the pandemic, at the meat of the pandemic lockdown, 5 million people were tested. Now we're up to almost 30 million that have been tested. I mean, we are testing enormous amounts of people now. So why is it a surprise that we're moving in a record direction when we're doing record testing now? So I don't know. Again, math and reality seem to really drift far away. Had a physicist this morning text me that science cannot hold up in the court of, let me see, how did they say that? Science cannot hold up in the court of something like fact, or let me see if I can find the statement. I thought it was pretty good. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. Modern science would not last 1 minute under cross-examination in a science court like they proposed by professors. So, I was really quoting it poorly. But yeah, one of the physicists in the world was sending me this. I thought that was pretty much accurate. I'd come out with an odd statement on, not an odd statement, but I came out with a statement on something else that I'll tell you what it is, because it's pertinent to this trading situation. Math must stop. This is what I wrote. Math must stop. It can only be one, not both, judge and jury. And he came back and said, modern science would not last 1 minute under cross-examination in a science court, like the proposed professors Tommy Gold say. It's the same thing with the media. The media wouldn't last 1 minute if they had to function at the standard that they demand all the time. They would their accuracy is so low and irrelevant, and it shakes up the markets. And since the markets are investing like it's 1974, well, then obviously no wonder things are all over the place half the time. You know how I feel, 54. If you're not marrying options with your portfolio, especially you major fund traders, then you are just massive. You're just salesmen. That's all you are. You're not a modern trader. That's for sure. You're not a modern investor. You're not a top line investor. You're just a salesman. You may be one of the greatest salesmen out there, but you're just a salesman pretending to be a trader. So, let's see. PCE deflator not helping the dollar today. Well, you can see cable's weaker. Yeah, we're you know how I feel about the dollar. I'd like to see the dollar back off a little bit here and there. I think the dollar is way too strong. I'd like to see it, dial it down a little bit in here. It's like I said, it's way too strong. It just is. So, all right. Let's see. Where else are we now? Let's see. What else can we come up with here? Let's see. So we've done cable, and we've done euro. Let's drift to DocDow over to one of our favorites we always like to look at, and that is Turkish lira. Unless someone has something out there they want to look at, you can just shout it out, and we'll stop what we're doing and go look at it. Let's see. Where's Turkish lira? Right there. Where's it at? 685 area. So it's you can see it's just trying to, well, actually it's trying nothing. Look at the white line still moving up in there. And let's see what it looks like on the J4X. That is the J4X. Let's take a look at it on the Chicago Quant. Right there, same situation. Green dots as far as the eye can see. Till the cows come home, as I used to say around here. Excuse me. This is the biggest lesson I learned from you, Doc. I am trading option protection for every FX future I take. Very wise. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a combination. Excuse that cough there. That's what creates the volatility, is the lack of hedge. And so, what is it? There are people out there, funds, good managers that can swing the markets because they have good option positions on. And they can trade their delta and to play with their gamma and arbitrage it off somewhere else and Before you know it, you get the lemons to go chase it. Let me tell you a story about a man named no, another story. Uh, he was just feeding his family. No. Anyway, when I used to trade in some of the different futures exchanges, it didn't really happen in the stock exchanges, but it happened in the futures exchanges, and it might have happened at the specialist in New York. I never paid attention. Didn't really see it because they were so secretive, so you couldn't see it. But the well, you could see it on the charts. But let me just take it a little bit further here. So there used to be guys that would be down in the center of the pit, and they would have like paper charts, and they were doing like Dorsey Wright, the X's and O's and things like that, and they would be like trying to push the market down and get it to touch something that they knew a lot of people were following, and then it would the crowd would work its way there over a half hour or an hour. They'd work it down to that price when it was really dead, and then what would happen is that it would recoil, and the crowd would be long enough to sell it to the buyers, and coming from off the floor, and so that is really the markets and the traders have had abilities at times to have self-fulfilling prophecies, not counting if they're filling paper at the time too, especially on the future side, because the futures and the New York specialists had the ability to trade for the public and for themselves. Okay, whereas the locals and in the case of that was what they refer to, the locals in futures, or the market makers in the equities, didn't have that power. Okay, so when you have the power of filling paper, public orders, and you're filling your own account, you have an ability to move the markets around. Well, now you have options market comes in '76, and that really stops a lot of that. That's what really started to screw up the specialists. They lost a lot of power. They were controlling 90 some odd percent of the volume. Once the options came in, they all of a sudden were down into the mid 70s. And things really started to change. When they lost 25% of the market, and then the options really had a power to alter the whole game altogether. As much as they had the public paper, and they lost the power to control the trade for themselves. Because the options were taking that move. So they were filling a lot of public paper still, making a lot of money. You were able to sell their companies for, half a billion and billions of dollars, on the floor itself. Can you imagine selling your little specialist unit on the floor for 300 million and 200 million and things like that? Because companies like Goldman Sachs and Spear Leeds thought that they were going to have that franchise for the rest of their lives, whereas 6-7 years later, those franchises disappear altogether because the Spear Leeds and Goldman Sachs are salesmen. They're not really traders. So, you really have that strange dichotomy. So what's that got to do with Turkish lira and currencies? So what happens is that, 54 says, I'm starting to realize that you need to marry the derivatives with the current, the underlying product, be it a stock, a currency, a futures contract, whatever, an ETF, whatever it is. You got to kind of commingle the options with it, and if you don't, you become, you're at the will of the volatility, and now you're chasing your tail, and you find yourself biting your tail. In other words, the markets themselves will shift you all over the place, and now you're really in trouble there. So you look at this, and you can see here a Turkish lira. Especially on our quant, you can see it here. It's just like as far as the cows can come home. It's been green dotted forever. Over here on the spreadsheet, we did slide into one day there. I'm not sure where there it is. See where it was no dot at all right there. We went into the daily sell that one day and then came right back again. And it didn't go anywhere. It's not going anywhere. But you can see we're now, looks like we are going to be, where's Turkish lira at? We are now 29 weeks in a weekly buy, going on 30, but it's really, really close. The weekly sell number is is really close by. Let's put that in there. It's it's one. No, it's not one. It's 681. Where's it at? 98. Did I get that right? Yeah, there it is. 69. I know what I missed. I know I missed something. There we go. So it's right on the edge there, but it's not there. You know. So, all right. And you can see here on J4X, it's just like literally gone to sleep, totally gone to sleep. You can see here white lines trying to drive up, just like our white line here was driving up. Now it's starting to curve a little bit, and you can see the dashed line's just curving a little bit. We'll see if this turns down. It's got to get some action. Again, like I said, this gives you a flavor of our math, but it doesn't give you our math, you know, not at all. But it's better than nothing, you know. Something is always better than nothing. Sometimes people just don't appreciate that fact. It has to be all or none. And then what you have here is, you know, that's the way that it, you know, the product is going. Let's take a look at, unless someone sees something. Oh, here we go. 54 says, have you written any books, Doc, I can buy? Have I written any books that I can buy? I haven't written any books, no. No, I've been offered for decades money to write a book, but I haven't written a book. I like doing live webinar. That's what this was all about. For once the YouTube era started to develop itself about 20 years ago, I started thinking, you know, I got to find a way to, you know, get up there and be able to answer questions and communicate these ideas, memorializing them through the digital era, you know. And I really think that, you know, and then I tried Top Step and I tried Dukascopy, and I survived in Dukascopy, and Top Step is no more, you know. So Dukascopy lets me do it every day, and I'm able to, you know, run for an hour instead of like 5 minutes, and, you know, and I'm able to pontificate, and I don't have to worry about anybody hacking my, you know, YouTube channel or whatever, you know. And so, you know, it's a nice marriage there as far as I'm concerned, or living convenience, the two of us, you know. Dukascopy and me, you know, we're mates. We just kind of hang out. And so I'm able to pontificate about the marketplace, and they memorialize it by putting it up on YouTube, and I get a chance to sing a little bit, make some jokes, and answer any question that is confusing to anybody or has a query to it, or it doesn't even have to be confusing, just answer any questions that might be jumping out at you, you know. So no books. I used to have a newsletter called The Floor Trader a long time ago, and now we have the website, which the website probably will last forever, because I'm going to put my you know how my math does predictions on science and then it does predictions on markets. It also does predictions on existence and life and words and concepts. So I am computerizing that right now. So there's going to be an artificial intelligence of Doc one day up on the website, where you'll be able to talk to the website, and the website will be able to talk back to you and actually answer questions. Not the way you get like those stupid ones with you know, you get five answers. Did this help you? It's going to be a personal dialogue. I'm working on that artificial intelligence. Been working on that for years now, and it'll be like robotic. It'll be like this is not Geordi. What was the one in Star Trek Next Generation? The automaton with the positronic brain. I'm trying to think of his name. Data. It'll be like Data. It'll be able to communicate. It'll actually have a personality. So it'll have my personality. So I guess I'm Soom was it? Soom was the scientist that built Data, and Murray is the scientist who'll build my cybernetic system. So, oh, what's the website? What is my website? Oh, I know what it is. Chicago Quant Technologies. So, Chicago Quant Technologies. Let me see if I can put that up there. Can I put that up there? If I try to put it up there, YouTube knocks it out. But if Robin's around, Robin will put it up there for us. before the webinar's over with, I'll find a way to put it up on the chat line. Let's see if I can say something. Sign in to chat. See, I'm not signed in, so I gotta sign into the chat. And when Robin appears, we'll get it up there before the end of the adventure here. So anyway, yeah, that's where we're at. Anyway, let's stop rambling there. But that was my answer to the book idea. So let's see. Where did we leave off? Oh, Turkish lira. Let's go to Canadian. Let's go see what the Canadian's doing. Do 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 do. There we go. There's Canadian, and let's go to fact check sheet and see what she says. What does she say? And there it is. There, line 20. So we are 5 weeks in a buy, 2 days in a buy. And you can see it's been moving up. And what's 5 weeks look like in this thing? No, wait a minute. That's 5 weeks in a sell. I can't even read my own stuff. 5 weeks in a sell. So all the way back to, let's see, where is it? Do we have Canadian in there? Yeah, I think we do. So we go like that. So where are you? Where'd you go? Okay, so right here it went into the weekly sell. Right there. After being in a weekly sell. And then it just went into the weekly buy 1 week. Right there. That's where it went into the weekly sell 5 weeks ago. Do do do. La 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 la. La 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 la. Right there. 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5. Sound like Lawrence Welk. There we go. And you can see that's where we've been in the weekly sell. So if you think this is higher than down here, you are right. You understand Doc's math. Okay. Because it's in a sell. And then you can see here, it's been trying to perk its little head up. But not doing too good a job. I think, I mean, it would have to give it a dash up into the 137s. Let's put that in there too for the weekly. And that is 137, right there, 37, 54. There we are. That would put it into the weekly buy. So it's having its issues to get rolling with the homies. Rolling with the homies. So you can see here on the daily, though, it's been a daily buy for a couple days there. So this is going on the third day there. La 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 la. Now look at that. Look at that moonshot going on with the white line there on J4X. It's like, yo, baby. Liftoff. Escape velocity. Now even the rate of change is turned up, and you can see dash is turned up at the same time. There you go. Thank you, Robin. Cool. And I think that's all one giant word, Chicago Quant Technologies. So, .com. So, my mom was a singer. I grew up hearing singing. She was a professionally trained singer. Yes, she was. Let's see. And she, you know who she sang for? She sang for like USO during World War II, but she sang for the Southern Christian Leadership Council. She helped Leon Sullivan and Martin Luther King. And so when I was a little kid, you know, she had been removed. I mean, she removed herself from all that. She was playing mommy, and so she wasn't doing that. So she would sing like the stars, you know, the Star Spangled Banner or something like that, or America Beautiful at sporting events, local sporting events, or something like that. And she was president of the PTA, and she was one of the big Republicans in the Republican Party, and you know, and stuff like that. And so Mom would sing walking around the house, and I would just sing too. What the hell? It just seemed like a natural thing. She was a trained athlete. She trained with Tarzan, the original Tarzan, Johnny Weissmiller, friend of the family, friend of my grandfather. They were athletes together. So she used to swim with him as a kid. And yeah, so that's why Doc sings. She says I was a Paul Parrot. You know, the parrots that repeat everything. That's all she says. You're a Paul Parrot. But I would sing also. I had a good voice, they said. But anyway, there we are. That's why Doc sings and had a good time in the trading floors, because when you are bidding and offering and you have 400 people screaming and yelling, you better be able to have a set of pipes to be able to send the bid out or the offer out. Take 'em. Sold. Yes, indeed. And with a higher decibel rate than that. So there you go. You can see Canadians trying to lift up, and it's been lifting up. And I'd imagine, does that mean oil is down? We've been trying to interpret that, right? So I'd imagine, I haven't even looked at oil, but let's take a look at oil. Unless somebody wants to... big resistance for CAD. Okay, here. Okay. Yeah, I can see that from 6-7 days ago, I guess. Or is it a Fibonacci resistance? What are you picking up on? Which one is it? Let's take a look at. Let's go to J4X a little bit more and wider. I'm not sure what those lines were I was drawing at the time. Was that? I have no idea what those lines were. Let me remove those lines. Remove. 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 We were talking about something, weren't we? There's lines under the lines, huh? And remove. There we are. And remove. And so you can see here, what is it? I guess that high right there. These are a little bit underneath. And those lows are a little high up. So that I would think that there's just like a little bit more room for it to lift, unless you see like a big Fibonacci that's screaming at us. So, see, 137.50 is resistance for. Oh, is it really? Figures. Figures the math is usually math picks that stuff up. Well, you ever see what I say on my LinkedIn? How do I say that? On my LinkedIn, I have it on the beginning of it. Let's see. On my LinkedIn, it says. How do I say it? I say it somehow. Why don't I see it? Let's go like that. Oh, there it is. Yes, on my LinkedIn it says, before there was a Fibonacci sequence, it was just consciousness, a flow, and just consciousness, a flow and shape of value of time, which is the name of my formula, the shape and value of time, or SVT. Shape and value of time. Speaking of which, it's Physics Christmas starting on Sunday night. That's right, for the whole week. In South Africa, we're having our party. It is Physics Christmas. And Shape and Value of Time will be zooming in. I'm not going to South Africa. Forget that. Forget about that. Forget about it. And so it'll be Physics Christmas next week. So my Shape and Value of Time formula, on my LinkedIn, it says that. It says, before there was a Fibonacci sequence, it was just it was just the consciousness of the flow and shape of value of time. And that's what our formula's name is. So, and that's where we are. Maybe one day you'll see me presenting at the String Conference. String Conference in 2020 is starting Sunday night, Monday morning in the U.S. Something like that. Sunday night U.S., Monday morning in South Africa. That's right. You ever see that picture of Einstein and all those scientists, throughout the years in Belgium, the Savoy Conference? That's what that is. Every year, now they just move it around, and they have it in different parts of the world so other physicists can make it to them. So, anyway, yep, that's what the math does. It has a natural tendency to drift its way to those things. All right. Now, where were we? Oh, yes, Canada. Yeah. Oh, no, I was going to go look at oil. Let's look at oil. Let's do this. We'll go Canada, oil, and then NASCAD, because I want to see what oil is doing. Usually, if CAD is going up, dollar CAD is going up, oil is usually going down. So, right there, Texas T. There it is. Yep. Going down. Is it down a lot or a little or what? It's not down that much. Just a little. Not even taking out the lows of this week. And then let's see, what else can we say about that? Let's go over to no, that's gold again. Crude oil right there. There we are. And you can see here on our J4X, yeah, on our J4, you can see J4X. You can see the white line and the curve of the dashed, and even the rate of change is heading south. But same game right here. And usually they are. J4X is the three lines I have set up on J4X are definitely a participant in the same way as my mathematics. So you can see the flavor of it always moving in the same way. I'd say 8 out of 10 J4X or 9 out of 10 J4X is following the same pathway. Not necessarily giving you the exact signal, but definitely, because I mean, there's the weekly. You can see like we're not even going after the weekly on oil, and you can see we've been in the daily sell for, let's move that over there. We've been in the daily sell for what, 3 days, and it's going, or 4 days. This is where is it? We went into the sell right up here at the 40, right? Yeah, up around the $40 area. It fell down hard the day later, and you can see, let's see if we can make this wider and so forth. You can see. So you can see our Chicago quant. All right, so it went into a sell right here. See, the red line is right there. So it went into a sell there, and then they sold it down the next day really hard. And then, well, it's lower today than yesterday. And you can see here the weekly's not being challenged that much at all. So not much to worry about there. But that's usually the classic to Canadian. And let's go take a look at NASCAD. I need some music. Let's see, where's that music at? I want to hear that again. I've been grooving on this one song by Miley Cyrus, No Tears Left to Cry, on BBC One. You know, the live channel out of London. I remember BBC One when I was a student, you know, and I guess that was the other thing too. I used to listen to Rebel. Was it the Rebel Radio on the ship? You know, between that and BBC One. So yeah. So yeah. So anyway, that's my head's been there for a while there. I really groove on that song at the moment. But if I play it too loud, then the YouTube gods will beat us the daylights, you know. So you cannot hear it. You can tune it in. You can go and find it. So Miley Cyrus, No Tears Left to Cry. Really good song. All right. Let's see now. So there's NASCAD. What's it doing? Now let's go over to fact check sheet. Let's see, where's NASCAD right there? So we're 5 weeks in a buy, 1 day in a sell. Yeah, 1 day in a sell right there. See that sell? There's the sells. So you can see the white line is trying to turn down. It was down. Now this is turning up. And what's do I have that up on there? Let's put that up there. NASCAD. Where are you, NASCAD? NASCAD. NASCAD. There's NAS dollar. There it is right there, NASCAD. It's still, wow, that's really weird looking. How about that? Okay, so let's fix that too. I can see the yeah, settings. Set on 24-hour instead of default. There we go. Okay, now let's send it to us. You can see it's going the wrong way. What am I in? Let me just go back to the fact check sheet. Aren't we in a weekly buy? Yeah. So we're in a weekly buy right there. You can see that, and a daily sell. So it's a neutral position. So we're not getting in any trouble mathematically. But you can see here on our Chicago Chicago Quant. We should call it the Chicago Quant J4X. And so you can see here, you know, it went into the sell, and it's lifting up. You know, it's trying to lift up, but that's why you can't trust the sell solely because we're in a weekly buy. You can see here the weekly buy is not giving up the goat at all. It's holding on really well. So that's what's going on there. Indeed. So this is going up. So it's kind of odd, right? Because remember, crude oil, when this goes, how's this work again? Yeah, when crude oil goes up, NASCAD goes up. And crude oil has gone down. You can see it's not much different than oil. Let's put oil back up there. And it's doing the same thing. So let's go back to the oil real quick. Where's that at? Right there. There it is. Is that it? Yeah, that's oil. All right. So you can see here. If we move this over like that, so you can see it a little bit better. Let's see. Let me just double check you're seeing that. Nah, yeah, you can see it. See how this is looking identical to this in a sense. And matter of fact, what's interesting is this is not weak, and this is weak right here in oil. So, and you can see the lines. This one's still underneath and trying to curve up. This one's curving down. So they're both picking up the same characteristics in different ways. So in other words, when you look at this product here, the NASCAD, it's telling this one's trying to lift up, this is trying to lift up, and this thing is rising, but the line itself is heading down. And then when you go look at Doc's work, you see this thing is below the zero line. So it's telling you, there's weakness now. It's also trying to curve up a little bit. So it kind of tells you that it's going nowhere, but with a little strength. And then obviously when you look at the fact check sheet, you see that we're in a weekly buy right there, something like that, weekly buy 5. And you can see this all above for like the last 5 weeks since back in there. And again, you see this, if this is lower than all this, then obviously you can follow Doc's math, because that says that it's going to be from here, it's going to be higher. That's what it does. It's not that much more complicated than that. And so it goes with the KISS theory, keep it simple, stupid, and I am stupid. So let's see. Doc, is the Fed liable to the junk bonds they are buying? What if those bonds get bust? Think of it this way, 54. Let's say there's $2 trillion worth of junk bonds out there. How many junk bonds do you think they need to buy to hold up the junk bond market? 400 billion? A quarter of them? Does the Federal Reserve have $400 billion to be able to spend? I think they do. When I saw them go into the junk bond ETF market, which holds up the junk bond market, that's the cheapest way to prop it up. Did I say that out loud? Prop it up? All they spent was something ridiculous like, $25 billion. But think about it. How big is the junk bond market really? I mean, or how bad is a slice of the junk bond market? Let's say there's $5 trillion worth of junk bonds out there. How bad is, it? Is it, 1 trillion, 1.5 trillion, 700 billion? How much would it take for the Federal Reserve to prop that up? Maybe a couple of $100 billion total in the end. So, I mean, you're talking about an entity that is respected by the globe financially, by every money manager, by if not respected, they're feared and terrified by them, and so they'll give them terrified respect, or they'll dance to whatever tune the Fed does in the end. So I'm hearing many, these great salesmen of some of the largest funds in the world now say, I was mumbling about it on Wednesday or Tuesday, right? One of them came out. I can't remember the fund, but he came out and he'd been a major bear, all the way up until about a week or two ago. And he said, Joe Kernan said to him, well, you've been a big bear and it's going up. So can you, is this a great spot to go short right now? And the guy said, well, Joe, I kind of not going to fight the Fed. And I see that the Fed is going to, do what it's going to do. So no, I'm buying with everybody else. And then think of that clown at Bridgewater, right? Dahlia. He's out there, telling everybody to be short for the last couple of years. And what's he do? He loses $28 billion or something like that, for the quarter. I mean, what the hell? I mean, you're telling everybody to be short. I mean, you're saying it for 12 months. You got to sell this market. You got to sell this market. What happens? The market gets crushed 33%. He loses $28 billion. How do you do that? You don't trade like 54 anymore. That's for sure. You don't trade like me. You trade like a salesman. You don't trade like a trader. So Dahlia is a salesman. That's all he is. And the media loves salesmen. They love salesmen. You ever look at these managers and they go, well, I'm 28 in the buy, and I'm 6 in the neutral, and I'm 0 in a short. And they're at the same time they're telling you have to be cautious. You have to take profits. And then every time you look at you can't, there was a guy named, what was his name? He was Joe Kernan's anchor, and Joe Kernan was like an assistant on CNBC. He had just come over for FNN, the Financial News Network, where I used to be on TV once in a while when I was young. God, what was his name? I can't think of the guy's name. He's dead now. He died in 2008 from a heart attack. And he used to, he had a video every time a money manager would put up their recommendation, like, 29 in a buy, 4 in a neutral, and 1 in a sell. He's like, how can you only be 1 in a sell? And so they would put these penguins up there going into the water, Ask your questions, Doc. We'll answer them. Oh, I see. Robin's saying, ask Doc questions. Ask questions. Doc will answer them with 14 minutes left. Yes, exactly. And so, so in the end result is that these money managers are salesmen. They're not really traders, and they're not really money managers. They're salesmen managing money. And so, as a matter of fact, there was another one this morning I answered to. What was his name? Let's see if I can find his name. It's a pretty famous name. Messages? On LinkedIn, I mentioned it. Try to find it. But it was like, he made some type of statement, and I just said, you're just being a salesman. You're not even being a money manager. And that's really what it all comes down to now. They're unless you're using options all the time to hedge your portfolios on some level or enhance your portfolios on some level, then you're fooling yourself. That's really what it is. Yep, that's exactly what it comes down to. And that's really what it all comes down to in the end. That's what makes the volatility in our markets. So much money being undermanaged that they run like little lemons and all those little penguins going into the water together. That's what the problem is. So anyway, there it is. The NASCAD kind of in a neutral stance, just like the oil. And you can see as Canadian. Let's go back to Canadian on here. Where's it at? It's really close by, isn't it? Right there. There it is. And the Canadian just doing the inverse of it. Just holding up really firm in there. Just firm. And so in many ways, when oil is going down, I guess, it puts some pressure on the currency. I think that's how it plays itself out in the end. So, all right, I did that. That's good. All right, now where are we now? So we did the oil and the CAD, dollar CAD, and then NASCAD. So we've taken a look at that. Let's go over and take a look at gold. We did take a look at the contango, and we'll take a look at silver too. Let's go to silver first. This is for you, Robin. We'll go check out the silver first. Yeah, see, they're lifting it back up. We kind of thought that they're going to be playing with the whole thing there this week. I thought there was going to be some weakness, and then I think they're going to try to do exactly what you've been talking about, and that is get some legs and get going. And you can see it right there. It's just underneath the sell. Right there. See? Just underneath the sell. And if they get some buying going, see, it went into a daily buy last night. and it's moving up. I guess it's moving up. What's J4X show us? Well, it has moved up, but now it's backing off. But it's unchanged. So if this white line would start to turn up, maybe this will be the guns that get blazing and get going. We were thinking it was going to go into a weekly sell this week, and then between this week and next week, and then flip back into the weekly buy, and then maybe we get some legs on the upside there. Sometimes metals can be very strong in middle summer. I'm not sure if that's like, maybe it's a bargain. We should historically look at that. Maybe I think that's what we'll look at this week. Let's do this right there. Let's do it right now. Let's take a look at, and we'll go into like a monthly. Let's do a monthly chart of silver. Let's make it the whole page on J4X. This is what's good about J4X. It's very pliable, very usable. Now I'm asking it to go back. Look, it's going to go back to 2012 in a heartbeat. Look at that. So at the middle of the summers, there's strength there last year, right? So there's January right there. So that's January. There's February. There's March, April, May, and strength comes in the summertime, and then weakness in the fall, the winter. Let's see what 18 did. There's January, that weakness, and then there's the summer, right there. There's was that July, and starts to firm up, going into the fall. Let's see, 17 seems to be the same thing. It's puts a bottom in June, goes up into August, and then goes flattens and heads down and then sideways all the way to the end of the year to try to go after the highs at the end. And then let's see what 16 did. 16 was a goodie, right? So there's February, there's January here. There's the summer. There's May. There's July. Okay, so it tops out in 2016. It tops out in July and heads down. So maybe it does the flip side. Whatever the reverse, like so in 15, it was high and starts to break down in the summer here. And then in 14, there's January, peaks out in June, July, and heads down. 13, so the middle of the summer has a movement action. So I imagine if we go into a weekly sell and then back into a weekly buy, the movement will be upside. But you can see here, it has started in June. Is that June? No, it started in May. So it put the lows in, and so let's see if it goes a little sideways in here and then does another leg and takes off and goes and takes out these highs. That's what Robin was saying to me. He was thinking that we were going to see that type of action. And it does seem to be justifiable. Now you can see here the topping out at 2012 at all-time highs. Was that all-time highs? No, that's not all-time highs. Okay, so the topping out was in, again, there's August. Is that August? That's January. That's January. The bottom was August, June. No, June, July again. Okay, and runs up, and then finishes off. So there could be some action here in the next 2 months in this silver. We thought that last week, and we did an article on that. So let's see. Where else are we? I think that's what we're going to talk about this type of characteristic where it seems the metals. I wonder what gold did. Let's just take a look at gold. The same way. We got about 5 minutes here. We got 4. We'll look at this all the way up until about 30 seconds before the U.S. Open. All right. So there. Let's go back to 11 again. So it makes an all-time high in January. Well, that's July. How about that? Okay, that's July. So it made the all-time high in the center of the summer again and sells down. Same thing in 2012. The August high and the September high. Okay. And then what do we do here in 13? Starts to move up early. No, there's July right there. Tops out. Okay. So it could be a real swing point the summer months came same here. There's July, and it's sold down. We'll really watch this weekly, see what the weekly leads us to in the daily. This could be a good move. If we get into a weekly buy again, if we can only get into a weekly sell. Imagine if we don't, and we somehow come back up a little bit today, and then this thing starts to make its runs. It's possible. Let's see right there. What is that? That's December. What is that? That's June. So June, July, again, a sell-off. And then in 15, is it a bottom? It's a bottom. And in 16, it is a top. June did the top, and then July confirmed it all. In 17, it is the, is it a top? In August. And then what's that? Is that December? Yeah, it's December. It runs back up from the lows of November. Interesting. And then in 18, what did they do in 18? Made a bottom in July. So kind of the middle of the year, the metals seem to do a same thing here. Kind of make a top or a bottom in the middle of no wonder it's starting to act the way it's acting. Okay, and so here we are. Here it's been. So what's it been doing since right there, since the beginning of January 2020? It made some lows in what was that, February, and then moved up. And is it going to top out in here and roll over, or are we going to see this thing, do a little sell-off and then build a base again for August, going into September, and take off? I think that's something we'll explore even more. We'll put my math to it at the same time and see if we can find an identifier with all that. So, all right. So Robin, looks like that's what we're going to do for the article. We'll do that. I think that's a really good one. The way the metals have topped or bottomed in the summer, in the middle of the year. So. All right, this is Doc. Everybody have a safe and a smart weekend. Thank you for asking questions and being involved. I need that. I like that. I crave for it. I do. It gives me ideas. You think, anybody out there wondering, why is he like that stuff? It's because it gives me ideas. Look what it did right there. Some question somewhere along the line forced me to think this way. Because there's a lot of ideas bouncing around in this skull. Believe me, there's a lot of room up there. It's empty. A lot of empty space up in my head. So this is Doc from North America. We will catch you tomorrow. So, happy trails to you until we meet again.